Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's starting to feel like the movie Groundhog Day, almost the rinse and repeat, same thing almost every single morning. We've got showers and thunderstorms already developing. Here we are at 5 o'clock this morning, started getting active. Now here we are at 7 o'clock, 7:04 this morning. We've got some locally heavy rainfall in parts of Chambers County and from High Island moving into Winnie. This will continue kind of riding down the I-10 corridor, getting into Hampshire-Vanette, and we will watch it for areas like Beaumont, Mid-County, Port Arthur, Sabine Pass, Orange, Bridge City, and Lake Charles really in the next 30 minutes to the next couple of hours as this continues moving towards your general region. Some locally heavy rainfall again from High Island into portions of Winnie. These type of rainfall rates, you can get 2-3 inches of rain fairly quickly. Now, big story is what's been going out towards the west. A lot of people vacationing this time of year. This is the Frio, Cancun region out there towards Kerrville, Uvalde. Lots of rain just in the last 2 to 3 days. We've seen pockets of 10 to 15 inches, some 18 inches, and model data is saying that more rain is on the way, not only today, but extending into Thursday and somewhat into Friday. Another 10 to 15 inches of rain is possible for this region, so we definitely need to continue what's going on out towards the west. Here we are looking at the satellite and radar sponsored by TAMCO. You can see that frontal boundary is just draped right on the East Texas all the way into the deep south. This has been the setup all week long. It's going to continue, but you can see that this is bringing showers and thunderstorms not only out there in the hill country, but in portions of our area. We're starting to see those storms bubbling over there towards Victoria, Galveston, and again towards Chambers County. We'll see this kind of continue this morning, getting into the afternoon. We expect at least 50 to 60% coverage later today. Temperatures that we're seeing right now across the board is mainly into the low to mid 70s north of the I-10 corridor, I-10 down towards the coast. You're a little bit more warmer into the upper 70s, already to the 80-degree mark down towards the coast, and thanks to our sponsor of Silsby Ford, Get You One. Here we are with our outdoor and construction forecast for today. Today is our last day for widespread potential for some locally heavy rainfall. As we get into Thursday and Friday, it's more so isolated, kind of hit or miss, more so like the rain lottery, I guess we could call it. But today we get pretty active this morning, as we just showed. We're already showing some locally heavy rainfall in Chambers County. That's going to continue to move east. 40 to 50% coverage this morning, getting up to at least 60% coverage by this afternoon. Again, some isolated areas can get some locally heavy rainfall, 2-3 inches. Definitely not off the table. Thanks for a sponsor of Modern Concrete and Material showing what's going on for this Wednesday. We actually have Saharan dust into our region, but with all the rain and the moisture, we're just not seeing it and feeling it just yet. But as we get into tomorrow, especially the end of the week and into the weekend, we'll start seeing that haziness. So any upper respiratory people that have problems with this, definitely be advised that Saharan dust is here, and it's going to be here the next couple of days. And we'll keep watching this kind of flowing into our region as we get into this weekend, into early next week. I've been kind of talking about the potential. I don't think we'll see any tropical development out of this. We'll watch this, but this time of year, I was showing that these fronts, they sneak down into the Gulf or sometimes over there towards the East Coast, and they can get a broad area of spin. The National Hurricane Center, in fact, just updated this to, I don't know why it's not wanting to do it now, but let me see if I can do this manually. No, it's not wanting to do it right now. But there actually is a 10% area that was just updated. Let me see if I can do it here. I apologize for this. A 10% area, there we go, was just issued or just put on the National Hurricane Center chart. So you can see this is a 10% chance, low development out of this. I was talking about it the last couple of days. I don't think we'll see any tropical development out of it, but what this will do will help bring possibly an area of broad low pressure. And this just keeps the stormy pattern going for portions of the deep south, but especially towards Florida into portions of Georgia. They really do need the rain. Hopefully they don't get no flooding out of this, but they're going to continue seeing some of this rain this weekend, especially into early next week, because of this front kind of lingering into the region. We'll show that here in a second. Look out there on the Futurecast, sponsored by Switch Electric in the Texas Hill Country. It is just going to have some spin. This is just very active, locally heavy rainfall ongoing. You see in our region, once I put this in motion, this is our last day for widespread showers and thunderstorms. As we get into Thursday and Friday, we start seeing that high pressure build into our region, especially by this weekend. But look at the Texas Hill Country, very active today, very active tomorrow, even even as we get into really on Friday. This weekend, we start seeing high pressure build in, but notice over there towards getting into the Gulf, the eastern Gulf, this crosses over and then gets into the eastern corridor over there, the eastern coast. So this is that broad area of spin that will help just bring some showers and thunderstorms to the deep south, but especially Florida, Georgia, and then portions of the Carolinas. So we'll be watching it this weekend, but this doesn't do anything for our forecast. This continues to go east. I don't expect much out of this tropical development-wise, but this will help bring lots of moisture to those areas. So here, we've got moisture today. That's what's going to give us rounds of showers and thunderstorms. As we get into Thursday and Friday, very little moisture, going with 10 to possibly 20% coverage, but by this weekend, we're dry. But look out towards the east. Parts of Alabama, especially Florida, you see that broad area of spin, lots of deep tropical moisture. They're going to get pretty active with the showers and thunderstorms this weekend, especially into early next week. But not for us. We have our last day of pretty much widespread showers and thunderstorms. The potential for locally heavy rainfall is today, and then as we get into Thursday and Friday, 10 to 20% coverage. Maybe we should just say 10% coverage, but 10 to 20% coverage is what we're looking at. I don't think anything will be heavy Thursday and Friday. We really start getting into a more so a hotter and drier pattern, especially by this weekend as high pressure moves into our region. But you can see later today, let me move out of the way, it's going to be pretty active down there towards the southwest. We already have some locally heavy rainfall. We'll check on that here in just a second over there in Winnie and Chambers County, but we're going to expect this to pick up later this morning, especially by this afternoon. We get to 50 to 60% coverage. Again, some isolated areas can get potentially locally heavy rainfall, 1 to up to 3 inches of rain is definitely likely today. And you can see by this evening and tonight, we lose all of this, and then we start getting into a more isolated pattern. I don't think that this does a 100% good job, but it does do a pretty decent job at least telling the story. Majority of those that do get rain, 1/4 of an inch up to a 1/2 an inch seems pretty likely. Look towards Lake Jackson. I don't 100% want to pinpoint that area because right now Winnie and High Island's getting some of that heavy rain, and that will continue to move east. But it is showing that some pockets of yellow, red, that is up to 3-4 inches of rain. So that potential for some locally heavy rainfall definitely is there for today. Big problems out towards the west. We've been talking about it. Just today alone, 6 to 8 inches of rain is possible for some isolated areas. And then it continues to get heavy as you get into Thursday and into portions of Friday. If I believe this model, and if you do as well, this area can see an additional 8 to 10 to 15 inches of rain by Thursday night. So people out in the Frio, Cancun, these general regions, this is very dangerous, and you need to continue to keep watching this over there. Later today, I don't think we're going to get into the 90s because of all the clouds and the rain, kind of what we've been dealing with. You've got the 70% coverage for Houston. It's 60% coverage for southeast Texas, 40 to 50% coverage for southwest Louisiana. Temperatures mostly into the middle to upper 80s. Thanks to our sponsor of Silsby Ford. Gets you on. And we're having some technical difficulties, but that's what just makes our Wednesday fun. And then later on this evening, we're going to get into the low to mid-70s north of the I-10 corridor. Then I-10 down is pretty much into the mid-70s all the way into the low to mid-80s. Very warm and muggy, but we see that this time of year. 7-day forecast for southeast Texas. This is our last day for widespread potential, I would like to say. And then as we get into Thursday and Friday, it's more so isolated, possibly just 10 to 20% coverage. I don't think we get up to 20% coverage, but I don't think we're going to get anything heavy. We're really on the road of drying out, especially this weekend. Mid-90s, some areas into the upper 90s. Hello, welcome back to the heat index. We get back to a drier pattern. Same thing for southwest Louisiana. Pretty decent coverage this morning, especially this afternoon. And then we get on the road to pretty much, I guess we can call it the road to the recovery of drying out, but definitely heating up. Good time to go download the free Gulf Coast Weather Solutions app. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to the Wednesday morning show. I will see y'all on the Thursday morning show. But Lucas and I are going to continue having updates throughout the day today, especially looking at radar. But if you haven't, please go download this app. It keeps you updated around the clock 24/7. Have a great Wednesday. Thanks again for tuning in. Stay dry. It's our last day for widespread showers and thunderstorms. Again, have a good Wednesday.
Gulf Coast Weather Solutions is sponsored by. Thank you for making Gulf Coast Weather Solutions one of your go-to sources for weather around the clock. From heavy downpours and severe storms to winter weather and the tropics, we've got you covered with accurate, reliable forecasts you can trust.
Next week is starting to look a little bit more stormy.
But look what's moving into the state of Texas.
Gulf Coast Weather Solutions.